Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Second Act Actors. I'm your host, Dr. Janet McMorty, and I'm still a medical doctor simultaneously trying to pursue a career in acting. My guest this week is Adam Lupis. Adam is a barber turned actor, and he is my first barber turned actor. I cannot believe we are, almost 200 episodes into this podcast, and I've never had someone who does hair. We've had estheticians on the show, but my first barber turned actor. He has a wonderful story to tell. He is hilarious. I'm so excited for you to hear his story. There's so many parallels between barber shopping, cutting hair styling, between that and acting. Again, I'm so excited for you to hear his story. Please enjoy Adam Lupis. I always like to start with, tell me your story. How did you get into this crazy business?
So, it's kind of a long story. I'll try not to ramble, as I tend to do. But basically, when I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with, it's called nephrotic syndrome. It's like an autoimmune disorder that affects the kidney filters. So essentially, at that time, I remember I was getting swollen with water, and fluid and stuff like that. And I remember I had to take a couple months off of school. I was going back and forth to sick kids, and I couldn't go to school because my immune system was down, right? So I remember during that time, in the 2 months, I watched a lot of movies, and also I was watching a lot of YouTube videos about barbering, right? So I was doing barbering first, that was my first ever career, and I remember. I'm like, you know what? I'll just give it a shot, right? Because I was off for 2 months. I remember I was able to see some of my friends and stuff. So I remember I have a pool, and they used to come in the backyard, my friends, and I would cut their hair. And it was such a crappy setup. I had no barber chair. I had these crappy tools, and just starting off by my pool, speakers going. It was a nice vibe, and I was doing it, and I really fell in love with that. And then I remember I was doing that for about 4.5, 5 years full time, right? And then when I met my girlfriend then, now fiance, she's a big movie buff, right? So I met her in 2018, and she was actually the one who told me to get into acting. She was like, I don't know, I just see you being in front of the camera, you're funny, you could do that stuff, you're so outgoing. And I'm like, where do I start? How do I get an A? I don't even know what to do, right? So, as any person does starting off in the industry, you have to do some research, right? So I watched a show called Entourage, which is probably the worst example because, obviously that's so heightened, and it's you're never gonna, I shouldn't say never, but it's you're trying to be like Vincent Chase, and everybody's pretty much like Johnny Chase, right? So, but basically, I remember she was just look into it, try to get an agent or something, right? So I called one of my friends who does videography, photography. We took some headshots that were just simple things. And I remember I filmed 3 monologues on a backdrop. And I sent it in to every agency in Toronto. And I got I got in with an agency. They were called Compass Artist Management. I'm not sure if you ever heard of them at the time. There was a whole thing that happened with them. So that was my I'm sure, right? And that was my introduction to the business. It was pretty discouraging at first though, because as you know what happened, they went out of business, and I was only with them for a few months, and I booked a couple things, but then I was like, what do I do now? Now I'm out of an agent and I gotta find again. And all those clients who are much more experienced were also after the same agents that I wanted to go for. So I was out of an agent for a bit, and then, now I'm with Integral Artists. They're actually based in Vancouver, funny enough. And that's kind of how I got started in this business. And honestly, it's very tough. It's a really hard business, but I enjoy it. I love acting. I love movies. I'm a film buff. So for me, I really want to keep going, and I really want to hopefully get to a place where it's a full-time thing, and I can make a stable career out of it.
Mm-hmm. Why were you watching videos about being a barber?
Well, actually, that's a good question. I don't know. See, my algorithm was weird at the time. it just sort of popped up. I don't really know why. And then I was watching the videos, and oddly enough, I found it so relaxing to watch. Like, just it was like almost like an ASMR. Like, I'm like, I don't know. And I guess the more I kept watching, the more videos got recommended. And actually, the reason why I actually did, like, I actually fell in love with barbering was because I used to love talking with people. Like, I just love that aspect of it. And I just remember when my friends used to come, I would like spend an hour and a half cutting their hair, which usually haircuts take about, let's say, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I spent like an hour and a half because most of the time we're just like taking breaks. I'm talking. I'm like grabbing them like an espresso. We're just like chilling. I'm like cutting their hair, taking a break. And it's like, I just love that. And I feel like, I don't know, it's almost like therapy. Like, you're cutting someone's hair, you're talking, you're hearing their stories. And like you'd be surprised when like someone comes for a haircut, like they really open up to you, especially if you're a likable person. Like they really tell you what's going on. It's almost like they can trust you with everything. And I used to love that, confiding with people, right? It was a really, I loved it personally. But again, I fell more in love with acting, which is why I kind of stepped away from that. And barbering, it's a full-time thing. I was working like, 9 to 5, 9 to 6 every day. So it's like, how was I going to find time to do both? So I made that leap of faith and said, I'm just going to dive in the deep end and I'm really going to go for acting.
Was there a moment when you decided that? Like, what was that kind of trigger? Was there anything in particular that happened, or just said, today's the day?
Funny enough, COVID, which is ironic because everyone, it was a terrible thing that happened. But for me, that was the turning point. I remember 5 months before COVID was even a thing, when no one was even talking about it, I already had that feeling like, you know what, like, I just felt emotionally, I felt emotionally drained from barbering because, like, I remember I kept trying to, like, think to myself, okay, like, what's the next step here? I was fully booked every day. I'm like, it's either I open my own shop or I make a product line or I do something. Like, I wasn't making enough money to be like, this is gonna be full-time forever, right? Like, I was making a good living, but I wasn't making enough like that I wanted. And I think with barbering, yeah, like, again, you can open your own shop and you can do things to elevate it, but eventually you hit a point where you can't go any further, right? It's like, that's it. And it's like, you could do great, you can make a great living. There's people who make a successful living off that. But I'm like, I want to do something more. I wanted something where there's no limit. The sky's the limit. And acting is that, really. Like, with acting, you could play, you're always playing different characters. Every role is different. Every director is different. People on set, like, the whole, like, it's always going to be a different experience. And that's what I want. I need that thrill in my life. So, but that was the point. And right when COVID hit, I remember I immediately just quit. And I remember I filmed all that stuff, like I mentioned. Like, I got my headshots. I filmed those monologues. I sent it out. But before I even got with Compass, because I got with them I got with them in 2021. It was the beginning of February 2021. So from like March when COVID happened to February, I didn't have an agent. I was just kind of like doing my own thing, and like I started my podcast, and like, yeah, it was just like I just wanted to kind of just get into this industry somehow, right? I had to like break through in a way.
Was there anything else? Was there anything besides, your now fiance saying, hey, I think you'd be really good at this? Like, if you look back at your life, were you always a performer? Were you a creative kid? Or was it just her saying, you know what, you're going to be good at this, go do it?
It's a mix of both. I'd say when I was a kid, I didn't do theater. I wasn't a theater guy. Funny enough, I was more of a music person when I was younger. I say I played. I mean, I can still technically play, but I'm not very good anymore. But I can play guitar, drums, saxophone. And I remember I went to high school at St. Elizabeth. It's a regular high school, but they have like a regional arts program. So they have like different specialty programs, like for drama, for music. And I was in the band program. And it's funny, whenever I say the band program, I think of American Pie. Like, this one time at band camp, I feel like that's always me now saying that. This is one time at band camp. So I was more musically than performatively. But I remember I was always a very outgoing kid. I remember, like, even when I was like 6 or 7 years old, if like we went to like a wedding with my parents, or like we went to like a function, like a family function, I was always with the adults. I was never with the kids. I was always like making everybody laugh and like just being goofy and like just trying to stand out. And like I used to try to do like a lot of impressions as a kid. Like, one of my favorite movies is Master of Disguise, and I love when I see like Dana Carvey as pistachio these guys. Like and he does all these different things. Oh, it's so iconic. So for me, like I just wanted to just be myself, and myself, ironically, is very performative. I like just going out there doing impressions or like doing whatever I can to make people laugh and to just kind of play characters and stuff. I like that. Even like doing kind of like sketches or skits. Like I used to like film stuff on YouTube when I was younger and stuff. And actually, I did it when I first started YouTube again. I was filming some skits, and I kind of just stopped doing that. But like I just love performing.
You decided to change into acting. You get your agent, you get your all headshots, blah, blah, blah. You do all the things that you're supposed to do as an actor. But now it's 2025. Tell me about what that process looked like. You got the agent now, you're with Integral, you're auditioning. What have you been doing the last 3 years to grow your career?
Well, see, it's hard because I'm still non-union, right? So most of the auditions I've been getting are commercials, and a lot of actors start off doing commercials. That's it just is what it is, and it's great. It's great money, but what I'm trying to do, like for example, my brother and I in 2023 we made our first feature film. It's called All This Fine 89, and I actually got the one of one VHS.
Oh my god, cool!
Yeah, we had someone. It's a VCR Village made it for us.
That is awesome.
And it works. Like it really has
look at
so
that.
it's incredible.
That's sick.
So I found, like, look, there's so many actors in this business, right? And it's such a hard business to break into, and to be a working actor even then is hard. But imagine trying to be like one of the greats, right? Like that's even harder. I'm not saying it's not possible, because I'm a firm believer that if someone has done something, it's proven to be possible. Like the one thing that a lot of people were saying when I first started off, and not my friends or family, I'm talking more like outsider people that I was like acquaintances with. Oh, why are you getting into acting? It's such a hard business. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, if someone's done it, okay, it's hard, but I'm a firm believer that everything great, it comes with sacrifices, and it's going to be hard, right? And I feel like the reason why a lot of people don't make it in this business, because they're not willing to sacrifice. They have unrealistic expectations. So when I first started off and I had those headshots, I had my demo reel, which only had those monologues. I got my agent, I was auditioning, but a lot of it's out of my control, right? Because I'm relying on my agents to get me stuff. So yeah, like I just did commercials. I did an episode for a Crave sketch comedy series called The Dessert, and then I did a TV show, a mockumentary TV show called Charles TM Charles, which is on Bell 5 TV that just came out a few weeks ago. So those are like the bigger things I've done. But then the movie I did it because I thought no one's gonna hand out things to me in life. If I want something, I gotta do it myself, right? And it's great to audition, but I feel like this movie, hopefully it'll help propel my career in a certain way. So I'm trying to make those sacrifices in order to get to where I gotta get to.
Yeah. And I think, we always get told, oh, make your own work. And you're like, yes, blah, blah. We all hear it. But like you said it right there, like, I hope this will propel me forward. Like there is no way it won't. Like there's like literally no way. Like if you even just look at like the science of I've now made a new thing and is now in the world, like even just the making of it and the doing of the thing has propelled you forward, whether you like it or not. Like, too bad, you're moving forward, you did it, right?
Yeah.
So many people they just think they want to do it, then they don't actually do the thing. You did the thing.
Yeah, and it is too, to like add on to that, because it's a great point. Also too, like I was very fortunate, like that we were able to get like independent financing for this, because listen, most people want to make things, they want to make their own things, but it's hard, like even just to get funding or to get anything, and that plays a big part, right? So there's like always these hurdles. Like, listen, like you could have an amazing script, like you could be a talented script writer, a talented director, but if you don't have the tools, you can have the tools, but if you don't have the resources coming in, it's hard to execute that. And it's like there's a lot of people out there that have so many talents that don't get recognized, and it's like I get upset too, because it's like, nowadays you hear the term indie filmmaking, and it's like I hate hearing that nowadays, because like, not to toot my own horn, but this is real indie filmmaking. We did this like on a micro budget. We made it at no stars on it, all non-union actors. But then you watch a movie that's like $5 million, $10 million budget. Oh, and then they're praising like this. We did an indie movie, and it's like these studios, not studios, like, but Like, for example, there's a movie called Train Dreams that's on Netflix now, right? And it's a great movie, by the way. I saw it at TIFF. It's great. But they're considering that an indie movie, and it's like, but that I feel like that just diminishes what everyone else is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's
Yeah.
trying to do real indie filmmaking, and I'm worried about how that's going to be going forward, right? Like, there's people that want to try to make a film, but trust me, even to get distribution, we got so much rejection because there's no stars. Your film has under $5 million budget. And it's like that shouldn't even be a factor. If you make a good movie, it should be recognized strictly for the merit of the film, not because if it has stars or this or that. Because, like, Janet, let me ask you, how many movies have you seen that are like blockbuster films that have like A-list celebrities, like $100 million budget, and they're not good movies?
Oh, especially these days, tons, right?
Yeah,
Tons.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I hear ya. And
Yeah.
I find like we're in a bit of a vicious cycle. I know Canada's a bit different because we have no star system and we do have some like public grant funding, which is great. I know when I was at TIFF at some of the, like I'm part of the producers union and I was at some of the producers meetings and stuff like that, hearing from our American counterparts, and like they get no funding from their governments, right? Like at least we're lucky in that regard-ish.
Yeah.
But I think like the problem is, and I know I'm preaching to the converted, right? You need funding to make a movie. You need money to make a movie. In order to get money, you need to prove that this movie is sellable, which means you need to have a celebrity. The celebrity needs to get paid, which means you need money for the film. But in order to get money for the film, you need to prove that it's financially feasible, which means you need a celebrity. That celebrity needs to get paid. You need money to pay the celebrity. That money comes from somebody saying, is this movie financially feasible? I don't know. We need a celebrity. Who needs money? And you're just like in this vicious cycle and you're like, sooner or later it needs to end. And I think, I always love the, like Nicole Kidman is a wonderful example of this type of human being who is like, every year I try and support a up and coming female, either screenwriter or director. And it's like, I know that me, Nicole Kidman, by being in your movie, you're going to get it funded. And like, that's good. Like, I'm going to take a pay cut, but I'm going to be like, yes, I'm going to sign on and attach myself. And then that cuts the cycle, like.
Yeah. And it's like more actors should do that because like people, I didn't know that about Nicole Kidman. That's great to hear. And it's very true because otherwise, like, it's impossible. Like, think about it. If people like Nicole Kidman or other actors, maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but if they don't do that and they don't try to help up and coming actors, who's going to be left?
There's no legacy building. Yep,
yeah,
I agree.
There's nothing. Like, who are we? Like, if I was a famous actor, listen, I would be smart about I wouldn't just take anything. You got to find a good script. You got to find what's good. Because at the end of the day, you got to also look out for your career. But if you find a good project, you go, you know what? Wow, like these people are unknown, but wow, I want to do this. This is exciting. Because if you're an actor, you do it, yes, it's for the money. You gotta make a living, but at the same time, you love acting. If you love acting, you want to be in good projects. There's a lot of great examples of people doing that, and which is great. But I feel like there has to be, you're right, like something has to change because we're supposed to be the future, and if we're not getting funded, we're not able to tell our story. You know what's gonna happen? We're gonna quit.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that talent goes to waste. And what did Robert De Niro say to young Calogero in A Bronx Tale? The saddest thing of life is wasted talent.
Yep. Well, do you have any advice then for actors who are wanting to either change careers into acting from a first act career like yours, or just maybe blend the two, just try it out?
I would say, like, see, it all depends, right? Because there's some people that are, again, if you're in a finance, like if you don't have the financial stability to change, it's hard, right? Like, it's very easy for me to be like, you know what, just do it, like, dive into it. Again, like, I'm lucky. I did it at like 21 years old or 22 years old when I started acting. I'm now 26, and I still live at home, right? My family supports me. Like, I had obviously money saved up for when I was for my barbering career, so I was able to do that, right? For people who aren't, I think what I would say is that, like, it's something like it's hard. I don't know, to be honest. That's a good question. Like, I feel like it just doing whatever you can to be in the business, whether it's taking even acting classes, even filming things with your friends, just doing something. Even, like, you know what's even good too? Like, if you can't quit your full-time job, for example, if you need the money, create a YouTube channel, and on your days off, film things with your friends. Find people who are in the industry that like are talented and that are aspiring filmmakers that like have the hunger and the drive. Film things with them, put it on YouTube, and you know what? If it's good, maybe it'll take off. Maybe like your original ideas will do good, and that's what's gonna help propel. Because we're in a whole different. The landscape has changed. There's like influencers who are like in movies now, and like there's people who film short films and just put it on YouTube, and they blow up, and like now they're making features, right? Like so. It's just a matter about, yes, try to put yourself out there as much as possible. Again, if you're a comedian even, right? Like, go on a backdrop and just film an hour of you just making jokes and put it out there, see what people say. And like, you never know who's watching your video. You might find an industry person that goes, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on this guy. And that's how it happens, right? So yeah, I would just say, like, if you have the drive, you have the hunger, don't let go of it. Just try to find ways to go in there and just do anything you can.
Yeah, I love that. Now that you're in the industry, is there anything that you found really surprising?
Yeah, that it's a lot harder than it looks.
Oh yeah.
That's again, like I mentioned, Entourage. You watch a show like Entourage, and it's like you're like, wow, like Ari Gold, the agent, like wow, look, he's getting so many offers for Vince. Wow, like I bet when I get my agent, I'm gonna be getting so many auditions. What happens? You get an agent, like I haven't had an audition like in a month, right? Like it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta be prepared for that, and you can't get discouraged. Like I'm telling you, like people who are in it that don't get an audition for about a month or 2 or weeks, and they think, that's it. It's like saying, like, you ever hear that expression or that metaphor? It's like that there's a gold miner, and he's like going and he quits right before there's the amount of gold. It's like, imagine you don't get an audition for a month and you're thinking, I'm just going to quit then. What if tomorrow you get an audition for like a feature film, a big studio picture, right? So that was the biggest surprising thing for me, was that like auditions don't come as easy as I wanted them to.
Yeah. I think it's funny because when you say that analogy, I immediately think of slot machines, and that's how they get you. Right? Because it's like, this is an addiction, right? It kind of is, right? Because you never know when you pull the slot machine if the next one is going to be the big winner, right?
And then you keep telling yourself, you go, oh, it didn't happen. Okay, the next one. You keep going, no, it's got to be the next one.
Yeah,
And then you're broke.
I think because like you could make those comparisons and be depressed as all hell and be like, wow, great, I now have a gambling addiction masking as acting. But I think, again, what I find that maybe this is just me like trying to convince my logical brain that it's still okay to be doing this. But like, no, this is something that like actually feeds your soul. A slot machine does not. Where acting is like something that is so internal to me and my community. So I'm going to stay addicted to it.
Yeah, well, it's great you brought that up about like it's part of your soul, because like for me, when I do acting, like acting is about exploring human behavior, right? You're not just playing a character, you're becoming the character. You're trying to understand what makes them tick, why would they cry in this scene? Why would they laugh? Why anything, right? Like you're trying to understand why this character is the way they are. And I feel like once you do that, it opens so many doors internally for yourself. You start to like see the world through a different lens. Like, wow, people actually go through these things. Like, wow, like I never knew what it was like for people to go through that. And like I'm playing this character now, it's like, wow, I understand it now. I can empathize with people who are like this. I can laugh with people who are, it's there's different things about it, right? That it's really interesting.
Yeah. Do you find your career as a barber has given you an advantage because that is exactly what you have been doing? Like witnessing humanity?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's a great question. Like I literally, and like as I mentioned, like when I would talk to people, like I would literally, like, again, like when you look at somebody, they're always putting on a mask, right? Even if it's like very subtle, like, because especially if they don't know you at first, like if you're walking down the street, you see somebody, you can think, oh, they're having a good day, they're smiling, they might be good, but internally you don't know how they are, right? And I feel like when I was cutting hair and I got to like a person who I thought was so strong, they break down in front of me. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that about you. Like, and that's what acting is, right? It's like you're trying to play this character, and you're like, wow, I didn't know this about this person. Like, I thought, like, just given by how he's described, I didn't know he had all these demons that he has inside of him, or these flaws, right, that make us human. It's yeah, it definitely helped because I translated that into acting. I knew that's what acting was going to be like because I was going to be playing characters much like the people I was cutting, right? It could be anybody. I was cutting, like, doctors. I was cutting engineers or whatever, and each person's different, right? So because they're obviously going through their own things, whether it's work related or just in life, right?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any funny stories from your time on set?
I have a really good story. I can't say the actor's name because I'm going to get in trouble. But when we did this movie, we had an actor. We flew him in, and you're not gonna believe this. He had massive cue cards. I'm telling you, like the ones that like Marlon Brando used in The Godfather. Like I'm telling you, like big. So there was our movie. It takes place like the end, like where everything happens. It all culminates at this field party, right? So we had a bunch of like background actors or background performers. I always get the term wrong. It's background performers.
Yes,
right?
yeah, background performer. I think, yeah.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of them, and I remember like a lot of them didn't recognize the person, but some did. They're like, wait, like they would come up to me because I was also a producer on it. I acted and produced it in it, and I'm like looking at, like, we had cue cards literally. So it was like the actor had like a big monologue. So we literally had like 5 chairs and like each card. So he's like going. So everyone's just like, what the hell's going on here, right? So people come to me like, Adam, like, is this for real? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it is, like, unfortunately. And we had to actually let him go because like the performance was terrible. I'm sorry, you can't act if there's cue cards. You just can't do it. Then again, though, look at Marlon Brando. I don't know how he did it with cue cards, but that was an incredible performance as the Godfather. That's a whole other story. But like, everyone was coming to me, and everyone was laughing, and then like, it was just, I'm telling you, it was the most insane night of my life. We were doing it till like 3-4 a.m. because it was a night shoot, and just seeing these cue cards, I'm like, myself, I'm like, this is what's happening right now. So yeah, I never witnessed anything in my life. I literally, even the whole process, like when his manager was like, yeah, we're gonna have to, you have cue cards made, and I was like, LOL, like, she's like, no, you have them made. I'm like, cue card? I'm like, what do you mean, like just like little things that you can hold on to? So no, they're gonna be like 8x10, or I forgot the size, but I'm like 8x10 what? Feet, inches? What are we talking about here? And like, they're huge, so I had to get them made, and they shipped them to me in like this big box, and I'm like, what? I thought it was a joke. And then, the best. And as like he's doing his speech, or whatever, so he's talking to the actor, and the actor, I guess, was kind of blocking his cue cards. I'm like, how can you not? Like, there's 5. It's hard not to block these cue cards. They're everywhere. And then he would cut in the middle of his like scene, and be like, "You're blocking my cue cards, pal. I move out of the way." And it's like, oh my god, you have the audacity to say that.
Audacity.
It was a crazy.
Oh my god.
That whole experience was just surreal, honestly. It worked out, though. Everything worked out. So all was fine.
But
all was fine.
That's one of those things you look back and, yeah, you're just kind of like, I can't believe this is my life right now. Past me would be like, what?
My fiance and I, because she was in the movie too, right? She played my love interest in the movie. And, but by the way, she did a phenomenal job. For her first time acting, she killed it. But yeah, she's like, we still laugh about it to this day. We're like, I can't believe that actually happened. I can't believe we actually had him. He did these things, the cue cards. It was just, I can't believe that was real.
Yeah. Oh my god. Unreal.
It was nuts.
Crazy. Do you have anything you are looking forward to coming up?
Well, a couple things. Well, I want to get this movie out there. And I'll tell you, the first person I'm telling this actually, it's not 100% confirmed, but we're trying to get this on digital. So we're working with like, obviously, like some of the streamers, not Netflix, unfortunately, but we're working with like, different ones, and we're trying to get it out there. So hopefully by 2026, it'll be out there for people to finally watch. I'm really excited. Also, I have that show on Bell. If anybody has Bell, they want to watch something that's made in Canada. It was shot in Hamilton for like 2 weeks. It's called TM Charles. It's great. It's a mockumentary. If you like The Office, you'll like that. It's like a different vibe, but it's great. And also, I have my own YouTube channel too. I do interviews as well, and I'm trying to obviously get more people on. I've been fortunate enough to have great guests on and stuff. So I guess if people also want to watch more interviews, they could take a look at my channel and stuff. But besides that, my brother and I are also trying to work on another feature. Hopefully,
Nice.
it's gonna be a horror movie. I mean, I want it to be a horror movie. We'll see if it happens. But yeah, that's what I got going at the moment. So
If someone is looking for your YouTube channel, where would they find it? I will link it in the show notes, but if you want to let us know.
Yeah, they can just search my first and last name, Adam Lupis. So yeah, and it's like I used to post a lot of like, you know, movie reviews or like just fun pop culture content. Like, for example, like, did you know like Buzz Lightyear's real name was this? And like I just go into like a whole thing or like things like that. And those are great. I might still do some of those, but I've been like just really busy like with my interviews that like I just want to kind of get those out there more.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great, like, you know, and I'm sure obviously, you know, you're doing the same thing, like talking to people, like just hearing their stories. It's so nice. Like, it's the best. Like, I really just love connecting with people, and it's like, you know, people like yourself. Like, it's just nice to talk to people in the industry.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny when I have people who are like, oh, I don't know if I want to start, you know, my own channel or my own podcast. Like, I don't know, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, the internet is garbage. We need people like you with like joyful, happy interviews with exciting, creative people telling their story. This is what we need. Right now it's a dumpster fire. We need you. Please make a channel. Please talk about movies. Please talk about great things that are going on in the world, not the garbage fire that we're staring at on the news.
Oh yeah, or if you see like all this, I don't know if you've seen like the brain rot stuff. I don't know if you know anything about that stuff.
Not really. I know the definite. I know what brain rot is, but
yeah, it's just like I don't comprehend it at all, to be honest. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, I think it's, again, so important because I think, again, it comes back to what you were saying about legacy building, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, I think we live in a day and age where in order to build legacy as actors or creatives in a community, you need to be public facing with your art. There isn't really, and I mean, maybe that'll change, but back in the day, that wasn't the case, right? Now you have to. We live in a world of social media, and we live in a world of this is me being visible. I think it needs to happen because then people go, oh yeah, that human. And then that keeps your visibility there and builds some sort of legacy that I don't think will happen otherwise.
No, I agree. Yeah, you have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Do you have any final words of wisdom or advice?
I gotta bring my inner Dumbledore out. Or my inner Gandalf. Honestly, I would just say, like, and this goes for anything in life, just be yourself. Like, I say that because when I was in high school, I was a completely different person than what I am now. Not that I was like some bad person or anything, but just you try to always do things for other people, and it's like you gotta start doing things for yourself. Because when you do things for yourself, it'll bring the best out of you, and that'll ultimately do good for other people, right? Like otherwise, if you're doing the wrong things just to please other people, it's not gonna bring out the value that's truly out there, right? I don't know if that makes any sense, but like it's hard to word, but yeah, like just, you know, and also too, I feel like as what we've been talking about, right? When you be yourself, it's like when I like do my acting or I do all these things, it's like people get to just understand who you really are. They get to say, oh wow, and it brings the best. Like, wow, you're like, for example, even you, like, you know, you have this great podcast, and it's like you're so likable, you're friendly, and like that's who you really are. If you're trying to be somebody else, yeah, that may draw certain people in, but ultimately the people that you want are not going to come to you because that's not who you really are.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you, Adam, for being my guest this week. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to share your awesome story with me and my guests. I so appreciate it. If you want to take a look at Adam's YouTube channel, I will put the link in the show notes below. Definitely check it out. Again, we gotta support Canadian creators, people doing the thing, people picking up the camera and actually doing the damn thing. Let's create a legacy here, folks. And I hope you all will tune in next week for another episode of Second Act Actors. Bye!